Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Chris Nalwasky here with Craig Epstein for another episode of the TKR podcast. Kind of like instant reaction style. Rutgers basketball coming off of a terrible tough loss to Minnesota on the road. Minnesota was without a bunch of guys, a couple starters. Payne Willis, kudos to him a little bit though. He went for a career high, I believe it was like 30 points or so.
Yeah, I think he went for
32
32.
points. So I mean, the dude
Yeah.
shot 8 for 13 from three. He was making shots from Eagan, Minnesota. I mean, the defense was in his face a lot. He was making NBA threes. Luke Lowe had a great day himself, 19 points. But yeah, just a bad loss for Rutgers. I mean, we talked about it last time how Rutgers had a chance to really string together some wins. At the end of February, at the end of January here before really, grueling February starts. So yeah, Craig, just overall, man, what are your thoughts on this game for Rutgers?
I would say I know a lot of people are saying that this loss doesn't cripple them, obviously, because I think it's a Q2 loss. So obviously, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't kill their resume. But at the same time, like you have to look at this in the bigger picture. If you're not good enough to beat Minnesota, who's missing just basically everybody, like I don't like there was like what was it, seven? There was like seven people available for them today. It
Mm.
was like they had no bench and Minnesota still ended up winning. So if you're not good enough to beat Minnesota, who's basically playing with nobody, then how are you going to go into February and expect to come out, unscathed? Like that's really the big picture. Is that, like we said in the last episode, Rutgers had to string together as many wins as possible between Maryland, this game. I think they play Nebraska soon. They play
Hmm.
Maryland soon. Like they had to win as many of these games as possible because once they get into February, it's a buzzsaw. You're playing basically the top half of the Big Ten, and to think that Rutgers is going to go undefeated or come out of that on top, it's tough to see right now. I mean, like I said, if they weren't good enough to beat this Minnesota team, what makes you think they're going to beat like the Illinois and the Michigan States of the world? Michigan State just crushed Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and look how good Wisconsin is.
Hmm.
So it's just like it's this. So while this loss in a vacuum might not kill Rutgers, it's definitely going to be. It's just another obstacle that they're going to have to overcome, and it's just tough.
Yeah. This was a great chance to improve Rutgers' road record. I mean, 1-5 now, I think they are. So yeah, that's just they had a big chance to kind of when the NCAA committee for the tournament looks at it, they know like they're not going to look at, oh, Minnesota was missing guys. They're going to look at Rutgers has another win on the road. So and which of course obviously they didn't, now that they don't have that extra win. So yeah, like we talked about, man, Minnesota just played well. I mean, Minnesota came out 7-0 run to start the game. Right then and there, Rutgers put themselves behind the eight ball right away. Rutgers again, just like Maryland last time out on the road, they settled for jumpers. I mean, Geo Baker ended up coming through. He found his shot back again. He had 25. Harper had 12, but he was only 5 for 11. He had that offensive foul there at the end of the game. I mean, kudos to Gio though. He tried. Rutgers had a really cold stretch. I remember jotting it down here. So they took a 60-57 lead with 7-11 to go in the game, and then they didn't score again until all the way until the 116 marks. They had a huge
Yeah.
drought. They went
Yep.
unbelievably cold. I mean, Gio passed up some open shots. Guys missed some shots. I mean, the only one that went in, was Paul McKay making a bang three. Bang shot in the paint, falling down. And then they missed a couple more shots. They had a shot at the end. Harper offensive foul there. Yeah, just another.
I didn't think it was a great call, but I don't think Rutgers fans have much after last game don't have much room to complain about a foul on Harper. So it's kind of like give and take. It
Yeah,
is
I
what it
actually,
is.
yeah, I actually didn't think he, committed the offensive foul there.
I thought that was more of a flop than what Dean got called with in the
I
first
agree.
half.
Yeah, we're talking about earlier in the game. Dean Reber got called for a flop. I didn't think that was a flop. I mean, the dude had
Mm.
some momentum when he went into Dean. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the whistle, was good, was kind to Rutgers a couple days ago, and it wasn't kind this time. So
Yeah.
I getting a call for something. Let me exit out of that real quick.
Okay. And
Um,
just going back to credit to Gio, man. He really kept them in this game. Like you said, 25 points. Like he was really the guy who just, I mean, I think at one point, like all of the offense was just coming from him. Like it
mhm.
was just like he really kept them into this game. Unfortunately, he couldn't hit that go ahead shot at the end. But
Mhm.
this kind of but Gio's been kind of a weird case the last few games. He had that great game against Michigan,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then he just has just been absolutely cold since then. Like they said at one time, I think he was 2 for his last 20, which is that was like Caleb McConnell in the beginning of the season when everybody was kind of getting on him, and that was Gio now. So it was just like he had a really, really cold stretch, and he came alive in this gun. So I guess hopefully for Rutgers' sake, this doesn't, it doesn't set him up for another like 3-game cold stretch. Hopefully he can start piecing together more games like this.
Sure.
And you see it with Rutgers games. Whenever, like, if Gio and Ron are on,
Mhm.
chances are Rutgers is going to win. Like
Sure.
their offense is just they're too good to be stopped. So, but like we saw today, Gio was on, but Ron really didn't bring his A game in this one, and
Mhm.
Rutgers ended up losing.
Yeah, the one interesting part was there was 7 total foul shots taken in the game. Minnesota was
Mhm.
only 3 or 4, and they made the 2, down near the end, and Rutgers was only 3 for 3. I mean, a lot of guys, chucked up a lot of 3-pointers, obviously, like we saw. I mean, but at the same time, both teams shot extremely well. I mean, Rutgers shot 46%, Minnesota obviously shot 54%. Much of that was Willis and Lowe, shooting well from behind the arc. But yeah, this wasn't the Rutgers defense that we saw against Iowa a couple games or last game. Yeah, I mean, low rebound totals. A lot of the balls were in the basket. But yeah, this was a game obviously Rutgers needed, and they didn't get it. And yeah, the other one thing I wanted to mention was the center spot. Obviously Cliff only had 4 points in the game, seven total rebounds. Again, he rushed a couple things in the paint. He had the dunk early, but that was really it. And he had 2 free throws.
I
But
actually
Dean
think
Dean
that
Reber, yeah.
No, I was just gonna say, I think I don't. I mean, it could be, maybe I'm wrong, but watching this game, I feel like this is the first time where I looked at Cliff and said that he looks tired,
Mm,
coming off of that last game where we saw him cramp up and he was really, really just basically gutting it out at the end there. I thought he looked very tired in this game, and it seemed like Dean was in for longer stretches
mhm,
than we're used to seeing.
mhm.
So that kind of made me think. And Cliff, that's kind of his one weakness, is he doesn't really have great touch around the rim, but he was just missing some like just easy layups that you would think like he should make. And I don't know. I thought he started to look a little tired in this game, which is not a good sign going into this brutal February. So
Mhm.
Rutgers definitely has to figure out a way, if they have to give him a rest, maybe go with Dean for longer stretches, and maybe even Ralph. I
Mhm.
mean, if that's the case, that's just another thing that Rutgers is going to have to overcome.
Yeah, and the one thing, Cliff, Reber was in the game over Cliff at the end. Reber played 17 minutes today. Cliff played 23. Reber
Yeah,
had
that's
six
closer than
points.
I've ever seen
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
their
Reber
totals
had
being.
six
Yeah,
points and 3 5. He didn't have as many rebounds and steals like he did, efficient wise last game, but I thought he played well. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting that Reber was in at the end of the game. We'll have to see if that continues. And yeah, I mean, yeah, this team just needs to find a way to win the road. I mean, coming up next, let's see, let's take a look at the schedule real quick. They have Maryland at home on Tuesday,
at home.
and then they go to Nebraska and then go to Northwestern. I mean, Maryland, beat Illinois last night, so that was nuts.
That's, I'm just looking
But yeah, and then they
at
got
the game.
Nebraska, Northwestern. They have more games to win there, and then the February hits like we've been we've been
Yep.
we've been touching on. So they still have chances to win these next 3 and get more Big Ten wins in the resume and a couple more on the road. But this Rutgers team is very hot and cold. They need more shooters. They need more scoring overall from other guys. So it'll be interesting to see how the next games unfold.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the February schedule again. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
after Northwestern, every team they're playing the rest of the month is ranked in the top, what, 19 is the
Mhm,
highest with Ohio State. And Michigan's the only team that they're playing that's not ranked. And by the
mhm.
time they play them, they probably will be ranked. So
Sure, yeah, you know, you know, that's the Big Ten's gone, and I'm sure Pike. We had issues with the post game press conference link tonight, but
yeah, something I was curious about, I was probably gonna ask him, was once they saw that uh Peyton Willis,
mhm,
like once they saw him going off, I'm kind of surprised that they didn't just put Caleb on him.
mhm,
Because Caleb is like probably the best defender in the Big Ten right now. We'll
mhm.
see if he wins the award. But I
Probably
mean,
not.
right now I feel like Caleb's one of, if not the best defender in the league. So I'm
Mhm,
kind of surprised when you see a guy going off like that. Why not just have Caleb just kind of just follow him around and
mhm,
just disrupt it? Because I mean, low hit had 19 points, but it was really Peyton Willis that was really the engine that kept them going, and he was the
mhm.
guy that was going off for them. So I'm kind of surprised that he didn't just have Caleb follow him around.
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers had 7 steals in the game, 3 blocks. I mean, they had less turnovers than Minnesota, but yeah, Minnesota just got the job done. At the end of the game, Rutgers got cold, and yeah, that's all she wrote. I mean, yeah. So I mean, you have anything else about the game that you want to add, or
Not really. I mean, it's just a tough loss, man. And now they got what did we say? They're playing Maryland and Nebraska. That's basically the bottom of the Big Ten. So you got, and them Northwestern. I don't know where they're ranked in the standings.
mm-hmm.
So that's literally the bottom three.
Mm-hmm,
Is
mm-hmm.
the bottom three is Northwestern, Maryland, and Nebraska. So I mean, if you can't win those, you can forget about March.
Sure.
Just forget about it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
done.
As their old friends at the Are You Screw Pod said, this was a must can't lose, and they lost. So
Well, I guess the one silver lining is that out of all the must can't loses in the last 4 games, this was probably the safest one to lose
mhm,
in
mhm.
the even though they were missing everybody.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
the
don't know.
one thing. Like if Minnesota wasn't missing, all the guys they were. I mean, this kind of the way we're looking at the game would have probably been a lot different. I mean, Minnesota had lost 4 games in a row coming in too. So
Would that have been a Q1 loss or would it still have been a Q2? Do you know?
I'm not sure where they're ranked in the net. I mean,
Okay.
right now coming in, Rutgers was. Let me check that real quick. So the closer you are to like 60 is, or in single digit or double
Yeah.
digits, is obviously a lot better
Yeah.
for
This
tournament
felt like
standings.
this just felt like a Q2 blowout road win handed to them on a silver platter and they just
Hmm.
just blew it. And if honestly though, without all these people in the game, like was it 11 o'clock tip in Minnesota? I saw
Hmm.
this slow start. I feel like saw this slow start coming a mile away
I
because I
did
feel
too.
like
I
it's
saw,
just
yeah, I
always
saw,
it's how it
yeah.
always happens.
I saw there was like snow on the ground last night. I was like, it's snowing. I'm like, they're gonna start slow, and they did. I honestly thought the same exact thing last night. And that's what happened. So they
Yeah.
dug themselves in the hole. They dug themselves in the hole at the beginning of the season, and they dug themselves in the hole against Minnesota today. So
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, man, this would have been a good kind of quote unquote easier win on the resume here. And unfortunately, they didn't get the job done. So now they have more work to do. And yeah, so all right, anyway, all right, thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you guys next time.